Why is it that after years of trying to jam, most guitar players still can't play expressive solos that follow the music? Well, most guitar players are just learning tabs and scales, hoping one day it'll all click together. But they don't have a blueprint they can follow that will take them from copying licks to creating meaningful solos. So let me show you how you can get there in just 5 steps using the same methods I teach my students. Step 1 is going to be chord tone targeting. Now, this is something a lot of us have heard before, but it's kind of just like a vocab buzzword. People say it, what the fuck does it mean? Right? Well, it's kind of in the name, right? We're targeting chord tones, but first we have to break down what tones are actually in the chord. So to do that, we're going to just make this loop that has only one chord. So let me snipe to when I'm there. So we're gonna be playing over a B minor chord. So to target the chord tones, we have to figure out what notes are in that. But we're only gonna be picking 2 notes out of that chord to start targeting. So we're gonna pick the root, the 1, which is B. I'm playing it up on the 9th fret of the D string, and the flat 3 of the chord, which is what makes it minor. You'll know, if you know those major and minor bar shapes, you know you're only changing that 1 note. That's our 3. So we have the flat 3 for minor, which I'm playing on the 7th fret of our G. Now we know we're trying to just target those 2 notes, and if we were to just play those 2 notes over the chord and try and be a little rhythmic with it, it could look like this. But that brings us to step 2, which is creating phrases, right? We don't just want to play 2 notes, right? We're trying to play lines that flow. So we want to start by just trying to make a phrase over 1 chord. Like if you can't create a phrase over 1 chord, why are you trying to create lines and sets of phrases over a whole progression? It's so much harder. So we start with our 1 chord, thinking about targeting that 1 and that 3 and using the surrounding notes to create a line with it. Now, often when I'm creating phrases, I don't even try and think about the guitar. I try and think with my head, with my mouth, and with my ears. What notes do I think would sound good? But first we want to internalize the notes that we know we want to use. So we can just sing those. You might already have some ideas with that, like da da ba da ba. Right? And then I can go like boom, phrase. So when you're creating phrases, try and be more vocal with it. But that brings us to step 3, which is how can we actually connect chords? We don't just want to play over 1 chord for forever, because you know what happens? Your ear drags to another note eventually, like you want it to go somewhere else. It gets boring just sitting on 1 chord. I have this progression now that's gonna have 2 chords. We're gonna have this B minor, and then it's gonna go down to G, okay? We're gonna do the same thing, target the 1 and the 3 in G, but we can think about them, funnily enough, as the same 2 notes of kind of the B minor pentatonic scale, because that's what key we're in. We're in kind of B minor action. So we have our 1 and our flat 3 of B minor, and our, well, if we're doing 1 and 3 of G, our 1 would be on the 10th fret of the A actually, and our 3 would be on the 9th fret of the D. But what I was noticing is that we have 3 there, and then our 5 of G is on the 7th fret of the G. Which means if we were to try and target the notes of the chords, we can stay in the same spot and it goes to the other chord. Isn't that crazy how it's still targeting the chord, but it sounds different over a different chord, but we know we're on the chord? But we want to know, how can we create a line that actually feels like it's moving between the chords? So what I like to do is connect the notes of the scale. Now in the actual loop I'm playing, I'm going way down here to play the G. So it makes sense we would want to bring our G down, right? Like, and actually be moving down on G, right? Right? And then we work our way down. So our 1 and our 3 for G down here would be 5th fret of the D and 4th fret of the G. So we have, these are our 2 chords, right? when I'm thinking about how can I connect these, I think about where are the scales I'm actually using. So if we're in B minor pentatonic, that's the same set of notes as D major. So if you know this little D major box right here, you can slide down through that and just land on the G notes. And so if we're creating a phrase on B, sliding it down to G, and then creating a phrase on G using right below that, which is kind of a more funky one to think about, but you can kind of think about the bottom end of this. Try and stay in this major box so we can think about the major box and then going up into pentatonic, and that could look like this. So you see, I'm just bridging between those two notes of each chord using the scales. And if you really want to nail these concepts so you can wow your friends by playing creative ideas all over the fretboard, the best thing you can do is be around other players that are shooting for that same goal. That's why I opened a private community where I only let players in that I've been playing for over a year and I actually play every single day. The best part is it's completely free and it's linked right down below. So if that sounds like you, hit that link, I'll see you in there, and I'm looking forward to helping you out. Now we're at step 4, which is rhythmic expression. You might have noticed in that last example that I was kind of doing a lot of little bends, a lot of little sliding around, a lot of staying in the groove. I mean, there's kind of a pretty groovy loop, right? Ba, 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 ba. So when we're playing over anything, focusing on our rhythmic expression is almost more important than our note choices, which sounds crazy, but let me show you playing without rhythm, just playing as many notes as I can, and then playing very tight rhythm with only a few notes. So you want to focus on sitting in the pocket, like find the groove of whatever you're playing over, sit in the pocket of it and play less notes and focus on the techniques you're using, your bends, your sliding around, more so than just trying to play all the notes. And that brings us to our last step, step 5, which is actually telling a story with our solo. All the best solos have a very clear beginning, middle, and end. You can hear when they're coming in, you can hear when they're building it up, you can hear when they're bringing it down. It's not this same like level. Like if I play over that loop, and I just play at the same volume the whole time, like, no matter how cool the lines I play are, I'm gonna sound like a robot. We wanna have flows in the energy. I often like to think about soloing as starting pretty light and then kind of warming it up, getting it a little hot, and then, ooh, bring it back down, and then get it a little hotter, and kind of, well, you want waves in your flow and your energy, and you wanna make phrases that interact with each other. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're playing a line, say you play a little, right? Instead of letting that idea end there, ask yourself what's a response to that. Maybe like, and then like a, kind of like extending your own ideas so that they're interacting with each other. Often when I'm soloing, I would say the first line I play is the only original idea in the whole damn solo. Unless I'm stopping fully, like sometimes I'll play like a little interactory line, and then I'll let it breathe a little, I'll stop. I'd say that's when I'm being original again. I'm kind of saying, what do I want to play now? But as I keep going, I'm like, what can I interact with that line with? I'm usually thinking about interacting with the past more so than I am creating a fresh idea every single time. So let me show you what having these waves and interacting with yourself could look like. And if you're serious about improvising on the guitar, I'd love to give you a clear plan so that you're not guessing anymore and you can know that you're making real progress towards hitting your goals. If you want to see how you can get a free personalized roadmap from me, check out this video right here and I'll show you exactly how I help guitar players play all over the fretboard and how you can book a free call with me to get a roadmap so you know what progress could look like for you.